Let's talk about being a child and a parent for a bit. You want to raise your children to be honest and polite because you go much further in life. And like you have swear words, okay? You don't want your parents to know that you know swear words, and they don't want you to know how often they may use them. It's nice to be taught good table manners. When you go to somebody's house, you don't act up. You don't just start picking up things and touching them because it's not yours. I was blessed. I have a brother who passed away in December of 2023. That's when I left my job and decided to walk around town talking to God to get to this moment, and I went full time where this was my only focus. When I was a child, you weren't taught to put somebody down, a social justice warrior. You weren't taught those things. You were taught we had Halloween, Christmas, Independence Day, Thanksgiving. Happy holiday is hot. It's just hollow. What's it mean? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. When I went to Newtown Middle School, I remember we used to have it was a bake fair from all the different backgrounds of cultures where they made baked goods. My mom, being English, she used to bring in sausage rolls and mincemeat tarts. Ideology. That's how the Native Americans in this country, that's how they were put down and attacked by the white man. Ideology and pride, because you're automatically better for what? You're a human being. And you shouldn't be ashamed of what background you have. You're born and you deal with it. Because what we build in our lives, it's the only thing you can take with us is your identity. And to really take shape, I've gone through a lot of pain and a lot of horror and a lot of joy and a lot of blessings. Are you going to step on somebody to get ahead? Life, if, the middle word of life is if. I'm 59 years old, so you could picture a younger guy. The movie The Breakfast Club, you hear Saturday, March 24th, 1984. It would have been my 18th birthday. What it is, it's a movie where a group of kids got in trouble and they had a detention where they had to go in on a Saturday, and how they became friends. I really have a special part in my life, in my heart, being but I didn't make it that far. I ended up leaving high school, but I also didn't. I was 10 in 1976. We just had Jaws in the theater. Okay, 50 years later, I was 9. And years back, we had a smoker's patio at the high school. The bathrooms in the middle school, they stunk of cigarettes. But it was 16 years old to buy cigarettes. Not to smoke, to buy them. Because it's not anybody else's business, but yours and your parents'. Or if your parents have friends who point that you're smoking, okay? Living in a free world. When the police cars all had different colors and we had different uniforms in different states, because with constitutional law, and if one department isn't meeting the needs of the public, then they don't go to another place and have them with a different uniform, a different color car. They're not stuck with the same prejudice by just having the police department of the United States. It's remarkable, very sad what the world's turned into in the last 13 years. Halloween. I'd like to tell you the untold story on Halloween, the jack-o'-lantern. Be careful how long you spend at one face, because if you spend too much time in one place, it can consume your soul. And where in Halloween, you can dress up like you want. Nobody knows who you are. And you have freedom. There isn't sexuality. You dress as monsters, and nobody knows who you are. Now the children, they're being pushed into understanding sexuality. How about being just left alone? Because I remember being a kid. You just wanted to fit in so you could be left alone. There's going to be a whole bunch of children, because in December of 2012, we never heard of this. As a matter of fact, I didn't hear about it until the election when Hillary Clinton didn't win. And you see people crying, upset. It's like, what are these kids being taught? Why are they so upset? What is going on? I remember when I was a small child, and Neil Young has that song, Four Dead and Ohio. What's going on at the college campus? Why aren't they leaving their campus? Why are they upset? Why does the National Guard have to be there to throw them off? What are they being taught? These are just questions a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old can't make any sense of. Ideology. Because they created all these classes for ideology, like understanding what it's like for somebody who's 20 years old, or what it's like when you're 40, or what it's like when you're 60. Okay? That's like in first grade, so you can teach somebody what it's like to be a 5th grader. Or how about you have a whole bunch of kids all in the same classroom, okay? Everybody's an individual. And I always found it funny when a parent goes, oh, I understand what you're going through. I understand what you're going through. How can you possibly? You have problems, which usually children have. But now they have to have the grown-up world. There's a whole bunch of kids who are going to be swinging around in a pendulum. See this? This is a merry-go-round. After a while, a child is going to get sick and tired of arguing, and they just want to go on with their life, and they just want to find a friend. A friend. Now it's really tough. I could not ever imagine. Now you have a couple of guys going out and they're having pizza, and you see a couple of girls, and they're like, are those guys together? It's incredible how this problem started. And we haven't heard about it until Hillary Clinton lost the election.